y'all. Welcome to Keeping It Real Estate with Kristen. I'm Kristen Goyette, and this podcast is about all things real estate. And today we're going to learn about some real estate investing. I've got my friends here with me, Mr. Lonnie Grady and his beautiful wife, Sheena. Lonnie and I actually went to high school together, and so I'm super excited and honored to have you guys on today. So before we get started talking about real estate investing, tell us a little bit about yourselves and your journey into real estate investing.
Well, thanks, Kristen, for having us. Shout out to Keith. And yes, everyone, Kristen and I went to high school together. South Lenore High School.
Go Devils.
That's right, go Blue Devils, that's right. And I left high school and went to North Carolina A&T State University.
Okay.
Right, Aggie Pride. And I also am a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Yo. No more shout outs.
Okay.
So I
You're
had to do that all the time.
Absolutely.
But yes, after that, I went to school to be a teacher, inspired by Coach Smith and Coach Sanderman. I went to school to be a teacher and a basketball coach.
Nice.
I did that for 10 years. And after that, I started a series of businesses, and that led me to meet my wife, Sheena. And together we started a real estate investment firm. So I'll let her talk about her background and we'll come back to the real estate.
Okay, sounds good.
So I'll tell the actual story on how we stumbled into real estate. So I am a Marine Corps retired captain, 20 years. I retired January of 2022.
Wow, thank you so much for your service. We all appreciate you very much.
Thank you for your support. About a year into our marriage, Lonnie talked about retiring and us starting a business together. And I never really thought about entrepreneurship in that way, or really me even having my own business.
Right.
I really always thought I would kind of take the traditional path and retire and get out and work probably for the military in civilian attire.
Right.
And we were trying to figure out what we were going to do, and then we stumbled across HomeVestors as a franchise, and we were quite surprised to find out that it was actually a franchise or something that we could buy into.
Right.
And what we liked about it was the mentorship,
Right.
and the community that it provided, and the education.
Yep.
That we didn't have to really start from scratch to start a business. So that was fantastic for us. So we decided to go into that in 2020, right at the peak of COVID.
Right. It's always a
and
good
that's
time
really
to
how
jump
we
into real estate.
stumbled into our journey in real estate. And I don't want to say stumbled, but made the decision to kind of move forward with it.
Okay.
Since then, it's been pretty great.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about HomeVestors and what you got going on.
Yes, well, HomeVestors is the nation's largest off-market home buyer. And if you've ever seen the yellow caveman, or if you've ever seen, we call him Ugg.
Okay.
Or if you've ever seen the sign that says, "We buy ugly houses," that's us. We buy ugly houses. And to Sheena's point, the reason why we bought a franchise is we love the mentorship, and that was important to us.
Right.
We really wanted to learn, and we didn't want to be like some people who, which is okay, some of them make it work, and some of them do a fantastic job,
Right.
but we didn't want to just go out by the seat of our pants and get into real estate without knowing what we're doing and how the interest rates and the numbers could affect us, or how to rehab it properly to get the highest appraisal value.
Yep.
And so we bought into the franchise, went through the training, and through that, and through other franchisees, we just learned that this is a process.
Right.
And not only is it a process, there's education that needs to be had. And there are so many ways to make money and generate income and revenue using real estate as a tool. But you have to learn those things, and you have to be somewhat decent in math.
Right, right. You need to know how to add and subtract just a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, you sure
Or
do.
at least use a calculator, right?
So tell me more about that, though. Okay, so you buy ugly houses. What does that mean?
We don't really buy ugly houses.
I didn't think you did.
Some of
But
the houses
it's a catchy phrase.
It's a catchy phrase. Some of the houses are ugly until Sheena gets her hands on them.
Right.
All right. Well, we buy ugly situations as well.
Okay.
And I'll give you two examples, and Sheena may want to add another one that I may be forgetting, because we do a lot of houses.
Right.
An ugly house could be one where, mom, grandma dies, and they leave you a house, and, you can't afford to. It's a great gesture.
Right.
Everyone leaves their kids something.
Right.
You don't have the $70,000. Yes, it costs $70,000 and more sometimes. You don't have the $70,000 in cash, and you don't have the means to go borrow the money to
Right.
update and rehab and beautify the house.
Right.
And so now you have a problem. What do? Right? You need to sell it, and you want to sell it for cash or sell it to someone who can buy it by any means possible.
Right.
That would be a situation where you have an ugly situation and an ugly house. You don't have the money you need to do what you want. You
Right.
don't have, and the situation is, mom or grandmom died, so you're kind of stuck. Although it left
Gotcha.
you a blessing.
So I would agree with Lonnie, and I think that what one great thing about HomeVestors is that brand that we have behind our name offers a lot of trust. People
Right.
are familiar with it. So it's not just the ugly situation or people inheriting properties, although that tends to be the case 75% of the time with us. But
Gotcha.
sometimes people just like the idea of the brand. They feel like it's trustworthy.
Right.
And they are really ready to move on. You have a lot of empty nesters.
Right.
You have a lot of people that are aging out of the home that they're in right now, and they want to downsize or they want to go retire and move to Florida.
Right.
We found that a lot too.
Divorce.
Right.
Divorce is a very big
Yeah.
one. So, I mean, I think it's a multitude of different ugly situations, not necessarily houses. Now, we often do stumble onto some of the ugliest situations, or at least the state of repairs for a property, which can be quite challenging, but it's typically just situationally dependent.
Yep.
But I think our goal is to always help the person first,
Right.
and not to buy the property. And I think that's what has allowed us to be successful in the business that,
So it sounds like you're kind of like my world and the realtor's world,
Yeah.
building relationships first
Absolutely.
and dealing with the house later.
All
It's
day.
totally about the rapport.
All day.
People have to trust you. I mean, we
Right.
have the backing of the brand, but we present ourselves as people first,
Right.
and not just a business owner. So
Yep. And I had someone on I think it might have been my first podcast where I don't think we've ever thought about it before, that every situation, like you're saying, is not always good when it comes to selling a house.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Like you said, divorce or loss of a loved one. A lot of times it is good. You want to upsize or downsize and you're excited, but a lot of times it can be negative too. And you don't realize that until you're in the real estate world.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Same with buying. We do not buy every house we go look at.
Gotcha.
Or
Gotcha.
everybody that calls and, hey, I want to sell my house, or hey, I need to sell this thing. It does not mean we're going to buy it.
Right.
It has to make sense to everybody involved.
That's good. That's a good point. So what's been your biggest strategy to building your business?
The biggest strategy, as Sheena just mentioned, is probably just being personable and really treating each person and their situation with care.
Right.
And so because we do that, we pride ourselves on really building a strong rapport with the person, the individual, or in some cases the company, small company, trying to sell the house
Gotcha.
or wanting to partner to buy a house. And so for us, it's been the rapport, right? A lot of people love and honor Sheena, including me.
Oh.
And,
Earning
and,
husband point.
yeah, that's right. And I hope and I think that a lot of people, like being around me, and they understand when we have to give them the hard truth about, the house. They might want to sell the house for $150,000, and sometimes we have to tell them in a polite way,
Right.
this house is only worth $118. That's all you're going to get from us, and we have to build a rapport so they believe us and understand we're not getting
Right.
over on them. Buying at $150 is bad for us and everybody afterwards.
Right.
And to that point, if we don't think that we can give them the best deal, we'll advise them to go somewhere else. So we
Yeah.
try to not treat properties or people as transactions. So we try to offer advice and guidance throughout the entire process. So whether you sell to us, or we can point you in the direction of a realtor, or offer some other solution for you, we try to do that. I mean, we've even gone as far as helping people find homes that we purchase properties from. I mean, if they want to just move and go into an apartment temporarily before they find their next forever home, or they are just done with home ownership, we try to find a space for them to land when they're done. We
Gotcha.
care about what happens when, after that. And another thing is, I think that we make ourselves make our presence known. Parts of pockets of Richmond where we typically operate, they're really close knit. You know, it's older neighborhoods where all the neighbors know each other and they know their children's children's children.
Right.
So we typically always find that one person in the neighborhood who knows everything that's going on with every single person.
Right.
And it allows us to build a rapport in the neighborhood and just get more opportunities. And I know a lot of people talk about being present in the neighborhood and door knocking, but we really take the time to sit down and talk to. We have one woman, for instance, in one neighborhood where one street actually, where we've been able to purchase 3 properties.
Wow.
Just by virtue of her letting us know what's going on with everyone. And she's not doing it to, obviously we give her a referral fee, but she knows that these people are in a situation that they're gonna need fast action and help, you know, with the sale of the house and beyond. And that we've been able to help them with that. So I think that aids to some of our success too.
Yep.
So this was not a question, so I hope I don't throw you off too much.
Okay.
But, so how does your transaction differ from dealing with a realtor? If you could help the audience understand maybe a little bit of, or maybe tell us what's similar and what's different. How about that?
Sure. We partner with realtors.
Okay.
Right. So I'll start backwards. When we have finished or completed the rehab of a house or gotten it to a point where we think it's sellable, we're not realtors. So we call our realtor friends. I can name drop hundreds of them. We call our realtor friends, you know, whether it be John, Joan, Anna, Josh, anybody else. We call our realtor friends and we say, hey, list this property. And we go over the numbers and they list it. But with us, we buy a house cash. Now, when people see the signs on the side of the road or on the pin to the light pole, and it says we buy houses cash, we don't show up like Floyd Mayweather with a big old book bag full of cash, you know, and money team hats. So we don't give them cash for the house. No, it still goes through a closing process.
Okay.
But we do buy it as is. So although we are in our contract, we are able to get it appraised. Sheena and I have run numbers and we kind of know what it can sell for. We have the ARV. We know what it can sell for after we have done XYZ to it. And then this is where she comes in, because if it's up to me, I'm just gonna put TVs everywhere. But then we go through and we figure out what needs to be done, like, you know, the flooring, the paint, what color, and all that stuff.
Light fixtures.
We're definitely we're not buying properties at market value, right?
Right.
So I mean that kind of goes to the ugly phase, you know. But
so you're buying the house. You're
buying
flipping the house, and then you're using a realtor to help you sell.
Absolutely.
Right.
You know, and that's one thing I think when we thought about our business and what it looked like for us, what we wanted to do. We certainly thought, oh well, maybe one of us can get our real estate license and we can buy the house and sell the house.
Right.
But I think when it comes to building a business, we realized that that's just not a part that we really want to play in it, and we just found that it's more beneficial to really rely on the experts to do their part, and for us to do what we're really good at. And it's definitely not listing and selling the property after it's done.
Yep.
And we don't always flip it. There are many different strategies on the real estate.
Depends on what condition it's in or whatever. Of course,
Condition, location. Sometimes, you know, not to sound arrogant or uppity, but sometimes it's just what we feel at the house at the moment. We had a discussion a couple of days ago where we could make more by selling a house when it's finished, but we said, hey, you know, let's just keep it. Let's just keep it. Why not? You know, let's just keep it. Yeah.
So then you might rent it out?
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
Well, we have multiple
strategies
on how we cash flow the properties.
Okay.
Yes.
We try to avoid traditional rentals.
Gotcha.
Just because they tend to be more work for less, you know, return. You know, we try to always be creative with how we hold our properties. So we have several properties that we Airbnb. We do short-term rental, not just Airbnb.
Okay.
And then we have other strategies too, where we can rent out like the individual rooms of the properties as well. You know, just to help those people who are, I wouldn't say unhoused, but maybe just aren't able to afford the rent, because we know rental prices have increased over, you know, especially the last few years.
Right.
You know, towards the end of COVID, they like jumped astronomically, along with mortgage prices and interest rates.
Yep, unfortunately.
So some people just cannot afford to pay $1,000 plus for, you know, a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom apartment, and it's just more advantageous for them to rent an individual room,
Right.
and have the common spaces being shared amongst 4 or 5 individuals.
Cool.
You know, so we're able to do things like that as well.
That's awesome. Awesome. Okay, so for folks out there who are interested in becoming a real estate investor, what's some nuggets that you can offer, and like what are some things you wish you'd have known? Because we all wish we'd have got in sooner, right?
Yeah.
Don't we wish we'd have got in sooner?
Yeah.
So what do you say to these folks?
I'll let you start with that
Oh
one.
my gosh. So I didn't study that question long enough, but I think that you have it. There are opportunities out there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get fooled by all the opportunities that come your way. I think you need to humble yourself and be selective about the projects that you decide to take on, and you don't
Right.
allow yourself to grow too fast in a business, because I think that's how businesses fail. They fumble. They get too excited about the growth, and they're not prepared for it.
Right.
I would say that's the biggest thing for me. I wish someone would have said, Sheena, Lonnie, you know, just slow down a little bit, you know, because, you know, at the peak of COVID, people were selling their properties left and right. And there were lots of opportunities to really grow. But I just think that you have to do your homework.
Right.
You know, you have to know what you're looking at, and not every opportunity is an opportunity for you.
Because there are true growing pains even
Oh.
in
Absolutely.
growing a business or growing your body.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
You know how
Yeah.
children have growing pains when they're growing, and so
Oh,
you
yeah.
have them in business too when you start growing too fast.
100%.
Yeah.
How about
do.
you? What would be your advice to folks who might be interested in becoming an investor, whether through your company or just in general?
I would say my advice would be to know your numbers. You know, a lot of people, I'll go back. I could think of some of our common friends in high school who, I hate math. I hate math. Math is your best friend.
It is.
Math dictates and determines your entire life.
Right.
And so, fortunately for me, I'm great at math, and my wife is great at math, and we make our kids perform well in math.
Well, I know how to use a calculator
Right, me too.
and Excel.
But I can't think how many times we're in the car, or, you know, I kid you not, we might see a house and we might run around the corner and look at another house, and we're at the same time computing the interest rates and the monthly mortgage just in our heads, and we're spitting out stuff. Hey, what's 185 divided by, how much we make it? We're just throwing out numbers.
Right.
And I can figure it out, or she has the answer, or she can figure it out, I have the answer.
Yeah.
So I would say people just need to, if you want to be a real estate investor, you need to know you need to know your definitions and know your math. Know what interest rates mean and how that affects your bottom line and
Right.
affects your exit strategies.
Right.
You know what ARV means and what changes in the house changes the number in the house, because selling the house for $5,000 less than you wanted to can make a real big difference, or refinancing it and getting $5,000 less than you want in the appraisal can make a
Right.
real big difference. And so I think just having a firm grasp on your numbers, all the
Right.
numbers involved in your transaction
Right.
and your goal would be something that I think anyone that wants to get involved in real estate should do.
So do some research, do some reading, understand all that on the front end.
Yes.
I mean, a few select few people who are just like, what, child prodigies or something can probably jump in and get it going.
Right.
Most of us need to study and take a class or something.
I'd like to add one more,
Yeah.
if I may. I would say something I wish we would have known. I think too often real estate investors like to go at it alone,
Yeah.
do it all by themselves. It has been great and advantageous for us to partner with other folks, other investors. It reduces the risk, reduces the headache, the stress, you know, like, and you don't have to kind of be in it by yourself. And if you're gleaming off each other's experiences and knowledge, it certainly makes for a better and more successful transaction
Right.
overall. You know, hopefully, you know, you guys make some money and you're able to scale, you know. So I mean, I
Right.
think partnering, probably if we would have partnered early on some of our first couple of properties, I think we wouldn't have had probably as many growing pains, because we would have been able to find more experienced investors. Now, we learned along the way that partnerships are good. You know, they
Right.
don't take anything away from your success or what you're doing.
Yep.
You know, so I think that as we've grown and as we've gained experience, we realize that relying on other people's strengths and, you know, those partnerships are really
Right.
key.
One of my favorite sayings is teamwork makes the dream work.
Amen. Yeah.
And partnerships is a team.
It is the truth. Those shared networks are, because you might not have the HVAC guy or the HVAC lady, and somebody else might have it. You don't have to spend. I would still have my hair if I weren't up late trying to make phone calls, or when somebody else we know already had the contact that we needed.
Right, exactly. Working smarter and not harder.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So how many transactions have you guys completed?
Ooh, raw number, hard to say. Overall, we've done over 30
Okay.
since the pandemic. Not all by ourselves.
Right.
I would think 20 by ourselves, 10 shared.
Okay.
It could be 28, it could be 32. But yeah, we're in the 30s.
Okay.
And we everyone has been its own adventure, joyous adventure, but everyone's been its own adventure.
Right. You learn a little something each time, and you use that knowledge next time, make that transaction a little smoother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, what's your primary service area?
Richmond, Virginia,
Okay.
and the surrounding areas.
Okay.
Yeah. So we, with HomeVestors, we get a lot of phone calls in our city, in Richmond, Virginia, and an hour around. We do receive calls nationwide, but with us having a family and kids in high school, college, middle school
Right.
now, that's hard for us to do. If we do something out of state, we rely on joint ventures or people we know in those areas.
Yeah.
But for us, anything that's in the Richmond, Virginia area, we're boots on the ground. She'll handle it, I'll handle it, we'll handle it together.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's good. Let's see. What would you say is your biggest challenge right now in your business?
Challenges. I would, we, over the last year, we picked up more properties that we like to hold in cash flow. And I would say that conversion from the construction into that refi into a traditional mortgage with the rates being as high as they are,
Yep.
definitely, hurt the pocketbook a little bit. But I wouldn't call it a challenge. It's just something that we know we got to work against. So we have to think about it especially when we're rehabbing a property that we know we're going to hold. How much money do we really invest into that property? We want to make sure that we're rehabbing it enough to get the proper appraisal so that we can refi out and still be able to cash flow the property properly. But
Right.
it is difficult, with the rates kind of fluctuating in the way that they do.
Yeah.
You never really know what a refinance for a property is going to look like one day to the next.
That's true. So, are y'all doing the Burr method? You're buying it, you're rehabbing it,
Yes.
whatever the other R stand for. I know refinance. is
Refi.
one. Buy,
And repeat.
refinance, repeat. So
Yeah.
there you go. Okay, so y'all are doing the Burr method.
Yeah.
See, I know a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me about the most meaningful transaction, and it might be different for both of you, but
Ooh, I'm going to go to Bank. I'm going to Bank Street.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to Bank Street. So
Okay.
I'll change the lady's name.
Okay.
Miss Potter. I'll just use that. right?
Okay.
Miss Potter. She called. She was a widow, and she just wanted to sell the house, and so she wanted to sell for enough money to move to
Georgia
with her children.
okay.
So the first thing we thought, my mom. If she called, if for some reason she didn't have enough money to move near me, I would come get my mom. It's my
Right.
mom,
Absolutely.
The first thing we thought when we got to the house, we were talking to her for an hour because we just getting to know to know about the family, because we couldn't imagine kids leaving mom just hanging out to drive 3, 4, 5 states away.
Right.
And we were trying to figure it out, and so she said, "Well, I'm getting a bunch of lowball offers. People offered me $5,000 for my house, and da 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 da." So we ran the numbers, and they were right to offer her that. And we walked through the house, and the entire kitchen was black. It was mold everywhere.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
living in that.
she
Wow.
was living in it.
Oh my goodness.
And she still, nice lady, she still had some pictures and paintings of her husband, and it was stuff everywhere. I mean, it was clothes hangers in the bathroom, bathroom tissue in the kitchen. It was just stuff everywhere.
Right.
I can go on for days about that. And so we have a calculator that tells us how much we should offer based on what we think the repairs are going to be. So we're not, when we show up to a house, we're not guessing or giving someone a random number. We're giving them exact numbers. Right. The calculator said we should give her about $4,000. We gave her 14, and did we cover half of the move or all the move?
We paid for her entire move to Georgia.
We paid for her to move,
Wow.
And we gave her close to 3 times what she needed for the house, which wasn't a lot of money to us, but to her it meant everything to get to the kids. And then we conversed with her numerous times, while she was waiting to move. And that one to me was the most meaningful, just because, because of my grandmother, she's no longer here, but because of my grandmother, I always have a thing for older people. Because I loved my grandma. Mm-hmm. And so just us taking care of her meant everything to me.
Right.
And we, we were happy to have done that for Mrs. Potter, because we really changed her life and got her where she needed to be, where she wasn't here breathing this stuff in and still mourning. She needed to go, and we got her there, and we took care of it. And we still, I don't mind sharing exact numbers, we still made $38,000 on the property after we finished. Yeah, all we did was clean the junk out and took nice pictures and sold it. Mm-hmm. So we still won, but we took really good care of her.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, I think I would have to say our first one. I mean, so we went about, when we decided to really go into this, we went about 90 days without having the deal. And, doubt starts to kind of creep in, and you're like, oh my gosh, what did we do? Did we just spend a bunch of money to be a part of something that's not going to really work out for us? So definitely our first one. I mean, it took us a while to get there. Mm-hmm. During the time we were doing a lot of reading and education, because you're like, oh my God, I must not know what I'm doing, and nothing's working out. So definitely the first one, because that kind of sealed it for us. We were like, okay, we're about to be on fire. We're going to get it done now. We're going to keep it moving, and we're not going to have no more stale periods, no more doubt. So the first one for us was really good. It was a property, we ended up wholesaling it, but we made $20,000 off of it. Nice. But the owners were in a similar situation with just, it always centers around family. Mm-hmm. Her mother had moved to an elderly home, and it was her mom's house, and she needed to sell the property to be able to pay for her care.
Gotcha.
And it was really rewarding. Mm-hmm. Not just that it was our first transaction, which was hella exciting,
right?
But also because we were able to help her be able to support her mom while she was in there. She was so grateful and thankful. And when we do transactions like that, or we deal with people like that, they always want to pay it forward. Mm-hmm. So even during that, and she was stressed out, because she was worried about how she was going to take care of her mom. She was like, hey, so and so over there is selling their house, or they're thinking about moving, and she even, gave us several leads on top of that. So it was just our first transaction. Nice. It'll always, I know the address. Yep. I know the date we sold it. I remember the day we got our check. We took a little picture. We thought we were in the big league. So it's always that first one.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's awesome. So what would you guys be doing if you were not in this role? Because you've got another little thing that you do, don't you?
Yes, this is not. This is not all we do. And to go back to one of your previous questions, I think that helped us out a lot. And I would advise people who want to get into real estate investing, and it's actually a phrase that we learned from Pace Morby online. He's famous for the Sub 2 group and class, and we're part of that as well.
Okay.
Real estate investing is not fantastic for cash flow. It's fantastic for wealth building. Right. A lot of people don't know. I know you all know, and we know as well, that you can be worth $1 million. It don't mean that you can go pull that out of the ATM. Right. Some people are worth a couple million and don't have it. Yep. Yeah. So this is not our only income stream. All right, Sheena's a retired Marine captain. I'm very proud of that.
Absolutely.
And
girl power.
that's right. That's right. And also, I have a consulting firm, and I've had that since 2011.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I left teaching, I started my own consulting firm. I've had numerous partners and employees.
Okay.
I had a couple partners that died along the way, and so and I've also done some joint ventures with that. But I have a consulting firm, and so I do that too.
Okay.
And so that goes back to her point earlier, where partnerships are important.
Right.
Because there are some times when I may have a Zoom or I have to go meet with somebody, or she may have a Zoom, or she might be writing an ebook or something, and the HVAC person or the flooring person wants to meet with us, or well, if we have partners who can handle that for us, we can do what we do
Right.
and not have to leave and go drive XYZ to go take care of that at that moment.
Right.
So we have other income streams. We both, I still, I have my business that I run, and like I said, she's a retired Marine, and so if we weren't doing real estate investing, we would be maintaining what we do. Real estate
Right.
investing for us goes on top, is an addition to all of that, and it allows us to build wealth and
Right.
leave things for the kids and help other people.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what has changed since you guys first got into this? For the
Cost
good
of
and the
housing.
bad.
The interest rate,
Ah,
the
you're not
interest
allowed
rate.
to say that. You're not allowed to say that. I know, the interest rate has hiked up a lot since you guys got started, if you were in 2020.
Yeah.
That's when it was wonderful.
Yeah, I would say probably the homeowners. Like, I think they know that they're sitting on value.
Right.
And I think they see houses down the street going for this or that, and they just automatically assume that they can get that for their property. So they tend to demand more, and in some cases it's warranted. So I think homeowners really understanding that, they don't have to always, be, situational dependent, but, the homeowners know that they have something to value and something that someone wants. So
Right.
they're going to ask for more money. And there are often times where we have to relent and maybe increase our offer a little bit just to kind of meet them, somewhere close to where they want to be.
Right. People are learning
Yeah.
a lot about real estate. More so, it seems now. Maybe it's because I'm in the world, but
Yeah.
than I've recalled in the past. And like you said, understanding value. But what they're lacking is how you determine that value.
Amen. Yes, absolutely.
And there's
I
a
would
lot
agree
that
with
goes into that.
Yeah.
I'll add to that another thing. I won't say it's changed because history dictates that it's probably been the same forever.
Yep.
But the contractors,
Right.
we have real estate investing for us is fun. We enjoy it. Every house is an adventure.
Right.
And the joint ventures that we've done have been fantastic. And contractors are hard to deal with. Some, I won't say any names, but we've had some that we paid and they never showed up. Or we've had some that try to finesse and put things together only for it to fall apart, right before an appraisal, or
Right.
they overcharge you and underdeliver, or undercharge you and never deliver. So I will say, I remember my grandmother telling me, and my mom, because they have some houses too. My grandmother did, my mom has some now. Finding good help is hard.
I
So
was
she
just
uses the
gonna
same
say that.
person over and over.
Yep.
Us, we have some good people now, but having to find those reliable people,
Right.
and that was tough.
Right.
That was tough. And I've had to keep her from going to beat some people up
Don't get this Marine
for
captain
not
on
doing
me
their
now.
job. I was the one that was like, hey, come on, and so that's probably been the biggest change. They know that real estate investors are coming, so they're sitting back and they're waiting to see who they can get over on, or they're starting a job and leaving that job to go do another job to keep cash coming. So I think just that the unreliability of contractors or have built trust in.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there's a whole opportunity out there for people who are interested in being contractors.
It is.
Don't be fooled by how many businesses are out there now, because a lot of them just don't have good reputations.
Yep.
And if you can just be someone that shows up and does what you say you're going to do, and do it with a good moral compass and ethics, you can
Right.
be as wealthy as you can work. I mean, however many
totally
hours a
agree.
day you can put in, that's how much money you can make.
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
we're all looking for those people that are truly reliable and truly dependable.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we are. Absolutely. We actually have a friend who started the company, and we are talking to him now about investing in it just so we know we have reliable service and that others do too.
Right.
And, you know, if we decide to do that, it's going to work and it'll do great numbers because the people aren't there. So, you know, if you want to be a plumber, the HVAC person, you know, the
Yep.
carpet person, you will make money.
And in our world, good news spreads fast.
It sure
It's the
does.
opposite of the real world. The news world, bad news spreads fast, but in our world, good news spreads fast.
Yes, yes.
So if you're good, reliable, dependable, we're going to tell everybody, and your phone's going to be ringing out the hook.
It sure will be.
So what's you guys' goals for this year? I mean, we're halfway through now, but you set some goals. Have you reached some goals, and what are you doing to achieve them?
We have some joint goals and some separate goals. I want to hear your separate goal too.
Way to go, put me on the
Call
spot.
'em out,
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I think it would just be to acquire more properties to cash flow, more
Right.
holes. I really didn't think I would really enjoy like the hospitality side or really kind of taking care of people, but I think it's become I don't want to say a passion, but something that I truly care about.
Right.
And offering like good service. So more short-term rentals, you know, maybe outside of the Richmond area. I'd really like to have one, and I'm going to put this on camera. It's going to be recorded, so everyone will make sure that it happens now. But I would love to have one in the Caribbean somewhere, or
Absolutely.
perhaps, you know, somewhere on an island by a beach.
Yes.
You know, somewhere
Vacation
overseas. Yes,
destination.
absolutely.
We got you.
I think my goal is to help create more investors.
Okay.
You know, as the president of the Richmond area HomeVestors, you know, we have meetings and we talk to other franchises and their owners. But what I really enjoy is when people just stop and ask questions when we're in front of a house, or when we buy a house and the nephew or the son or the brother or the sister or somebody's asking us, well, how do you do this? How do you get involved?
Right.
You know, and I really enjoy, and with my consulting firm, I help people fix their credit and get their startup capital.
Okay.
And write their business plans. And so my goal is to create more investors, selfishly because it gives us more opportunities to have more partners that we can rely on.
Right.
But, you know, also I really, and Sheena does too, but because I used to be a teacher, I really enjoy seeing my students walk the stage.
Right.
Like Mr. Smith and Mr. Sanderman enjoyed seeing us all walk the stage and play ball or do whatever we did back in school. I enjoy seeing my students walk the stage. So
Right.
seeing someone that I introduced real estate investing to or help with their first deal actually get it, it makes me feel really warm and fuzzy inside, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. I can totally understand that. And that's what I was thinking when you were saying that the teacher in you is coming out and all that you do. So your consulting firm is for helping people with their credit?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's called Superior Analysis, and we help people fix their credit, educate them on it, and that goes on a deep, dark path because people will think they can just go online, and you can't fix your credit on YouTube University. You just can't.
You
can't? No, because you'll run across all these myths and fables
Right.
and things that'll get you in trouble if you don't do it right.
And things that are like too good to be true.
Yeah. And
I
so
mean, I tell people
yep.
all the time, it's really not that hard to repair your credit, but you do have to have a little bit of discipline. You got to have a lot of desire, and you can get it done.
Yeah, you
But
can.
You can't do it overnight. You didn't get in that situation overnight. You're not going to get out overnight. It takes
Nope.
a little bit of brain power and sweat equity.
It does, and so we do that, my partner and our staff, and then also when their credit is, when the bad stuff is situated, handled, however it has to be handled, we help them rebuild their credit so they can have some positive credit,
Right.
and then we help them write their business plans and get their startup capital, as long as they have a decent idea, a car wash, an exotic car wash outside in Detroit probably isn't going to get you any money from the bank because you're only operating 4 or 5 months a year.
Right.
But as long as they have a decent idea, we can help them get the startup capital to get it going.
Awesome. Well, I've really enjoyed having you on today. So before we wrap up, though, tell me something fun or interesting about yourself. each one of you.
Nope, you can go first.
And I feel like there's one thing he can tell us about that he hasn't talked about yet.
I need time to think.
Something fun. So you mean tell you something fun, interesting about her or
No,
myself?
about yourself.
Oh man.
And she's going to tell me something about herself.
About myself.
I should have thought more about this
Okay,
question.
I am my friend. I'm a Twizzler addict. So I used to bodybuild too. So people, when I was bodybuilding, I would still eat bags of Twizzlers the night before I would have to go on stage and show muscles off. I'm a Twizzler addict. Like I haven't bought any in a few months because if I buy them, I'm going to eat them and I'm not going to really share them.
Okay.
So I'm a Twizzler addict. I
Well,
love
that is
Twizzlers.
interesting considering
All
you were a
kinds.
bodybuilder because I thought you had to really dehydrate yourself. for
You
that
did.
stuff.
I just did an 8 Twizzlers anyway.
We'll buy a 5-pound bag, and within the week, they're gone.
Wow.
Yes, I love Twizzlers.
Okay,
Yeah.
well that is very interesting.
I still haven't thought of anything interesting about myself. I'm highly addicted to like murder mysteries and podcasts. I mean, I'm really into that stuff, and I think he actually got me into it because when we met, he was watching what's the show?
Forensic Files.
Oh my gosh! And now I just can't get enough.
Right.
You know, and I mean, the mystery doesn't even have to be solved. It's just that, you know.
It is. It's people are
it's
interesting.
creepy.
It's
creepy,
creepy
but
good, yeah.
I love it.
I
love
do.
it, yeah.
Yep. I always tell my husband, don't do anything crazy. I know how to
Yes, absolutely.
and
Like,
bury your body
I'm
and
gonna be
nobody ever
consistent.
find out.
What about you?
Something fun or interesting about me. Well, I was a nurse for 20 years and now I'm in real estate. I think that's pretty interesting. Going from
It's a major shift.
nursing
Yeah.
to real estate world is a complete 180, but I'm not interesting.
Oh,
I doubt that. You have a podcast.
yeah, podcast.
Thanks
wanna
to my,
watch you, people
thanks
wanna
to my friend Zach.
You
I
have
give
followers, yeah. You.
Yeah, a few. So if anybody's interested in reaching out to you guys, how would they contact you?
Okay, my email is lonnie.grady@homevestors.com.
And Sheena.Grady@HomeVestors.com.
And if they want to contact you via phone?
804-277-4355. Call or text.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you both so much for coming on.
Thank
This
you
has
for
been very
having me.
interesting. I've not had an investor on yet, so you're my first. And I hope everybody learned a lot today and you're super inspired and ready to reach out to Lonnie and learn more. Have a good day. We'll see you next time.